Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. In this program today, we will be discussing the fresh face-off between India and China at the line of actual control. Fresh escalation has taken place at the line of actual control in Ladakh, with Chinese troops trying to close in on Indian Army's forward positions and firing a few rounds in the air after being dissuaded. The latest attempt by the Chinese People's Liberation Army makes it clear that it does not want de-escalation and disengagement despite giving assurances in this regard. The Chinese PLA has been blatantly violating agreements and carrying aggressive maneuvers even as India has been trying to de-escalate the situation. India has been maintaining that the face-off should be ended peacefully through talks. But does China seem to be in a mood to resolve the matter peacefully? We will discuss this aspect in the agenda today with former Director General of Military Operations, Lieutenant General Vinod Bhatia. But before we start the conversation, let us have a look at this small report.
China continues to escalate tensions at the Ladakh border with India. In the latest instance of provocative action, the troops of Chinese People's Liberation Army yesterday attempted to close in on Indian troops at the line of actual control, and when prevented, they fired in the air to intimidate the Indian forces. The Chinese army tried to plant in its media that India had launched aggressions and opened fire. But the Indian army issued a statement today saying it never transgressed across the LSC or resorted to use of any aggressive means, including firing. It said the Indian troops exercised great restraint and behaved in a mature and responsible manner, despite grave provocation. The Indian army said the Chinese army was trying to mislead the domestic and international audience by leveling such allegations. It said India is committed to disengagement and de-escalating the situation on the LSE, but China continues to undertake provocative activities to escalate. It is the PLA that has been blatantly violating agreements and carrying out aggressive maneuvers, while engagement at military, diplomatic and political level is in progress. The Indian Army said it is committed to maintaining peace and tranquility, but at the same time it is determined to protect national integrity and sovereignty at all cost. Clearly, China is showing no inclinations to defuse the situation even 4 months after it launched aggressions against India on the Ladakh border. It has been talking about resolving the matter peacefully, but its action speaks otherwise. It seems to be hell-bent on escalating military face-off and thus making the situation serious. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guest, General Bhatia. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Jai Hind. Thank you.
Jai Hind, sir. So you have seen that China has again escalated the situation. Now I think tensions are high at the LAC. How do you see this situation?
One, again, that heightened tensions along the line of actual control, we should have not supported. China has a very hardened position out there, and India has a very resolute response out there. So we have a hardened position and heightened tensions. So I see this as the events of yesterday, as I see them. China has been rattled by the occupation of dominating heights, which are obviously very dominating on the south bank of Pangong Tso, as they dominate the strategically important heights and the ingress route to Chushul and DLG, and also threaten Moldo garrison, which is the PLA garrison, and important to the PLA. The Chinese did not expect that reaction from India, the preemptive occupation of these heights, and China is rattled by this show of force. Though India is very clear that these heights are on our side of the line of actual control, but China says that these are 4 kilometers inside their line of actual control. So the positions today are that China has made some forward deployment along the North Bank Pangong Tso, in the Gogra area, Dipsang area, And we have on our line of actual control, our side, we have our forces deployed all along, and the disengagement process from our side is not complete as yet, but from the Chinese side is complete in the North Bank of Pangong and other areas, except for South Bank of Pangong. So there are heightened tensions out there. China has fired a few rounds yesterday, and that was, I think, probing patrols where they wanted to come and occupy heights which are parallel to the positions which the Indian Army and the Vikas battalions occupy.
So if we talk about firing incident, there has been an agreement or understanding that there will be no firing, there will be no arms will be carried and all that, and now it's after 42 years or so that shots have been fired in that area. So is that indicative of something more serious?
Yes, definitely. We have had the longest peaceful disputed border in the world. The last shot in Anglo was fired on 25th October of 1975. Things have changed after Galwan. I think 15th June was a turning point. Though in the letter, China did not fire, but they violated the spirit of the agreements and the Wuhan spirit with the strategic direction of the two leaders. So what we see now is a change management of the line of actual control, where the previous agreements, the 5 agreements, that is 93, 96, 2005, 2013, they carry very little weightage, though they do exist on paper, but they've violated by PLA, they violated by China. So we see this as a new normal now, where the friction will be there along the line of actual control, where troops face each other in standoffs. Possibly there is a standoff going on in Rizangla, as reported in the media. So this is a new normal now.
Now, why I refer to that is because we have a peace and tranquility agreement understanding for all these years, and which has held fort actually, which has held ground. But now all those agreements, understandings have been trashed. Now we don't know what is governing this area, isn't it? It's free for all almost, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely right. The 1996 agreement is categorical and clear that force will not be deployed, military force will not be deployed to alter the status quo, and that is what exactly China is doing right now. China wants to alter the status quo by force, by deploying its troops, by forward deployment, and that is what he wants to do now. He wants to make it a line of actual control where he thinks he controls everything. But China went wrong in its assessment of India's response. The Indian response is also categorical that you go back to status quo ante, let us ensure peace and tranquility, let us find ways, and we've been talking on that. Earlier, till now, the talks have not really yielded results other than Galwan in a few areas where disengagement process did start at the friction points, and the troops went back to their, not the original position, but disengaged and went back a little. So the process is a very long one. It is disengagement followed by de-escalation, followed by de-induction. But right now, China seems rattled by the occupation of heights by Indian Army in the South Bank of Pangong. So now we are talking to China from a position of strength. Though the diplomatic, political level talks also and the military level talks also have yielded no results, including the talks between the Raksha Mantri and the Defense Minister of China at Moscow. They have yielded no results. So let's see the way forward. But now when we talk to China, it is from a position of strength.
Now, what I found interesting was, sir, like this latest provocation comes only few days after our defense ministers met. I mean, Chinese and Indian defense ministers met in Moscow, and there was some talk about resolving it peacefully. And within 2-3 days, this happened. So, what does it convey about the Chinese intent?
Yes, we cannot trust China at its word. It comes 2 days after the Raksha Mantris spoke to each other, and the language was quite, the Chinese language very this thing that we should ensure peace and tranquility, we should move towards understanding, our relations should be better and things like that. And it also comes 2 days before the External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar.
I was coming to that, yeah. So
yes,
in fact,
is likely.
Yeah, please.
Is likely to meet Mr. Wang Yi, who's the special representative and the state counselor of China, and who is a bigger part in the CMC than the defense minister, as they say in Moscow again. So this has come, and this is old Chinese tactics and strategy. They try to put pressure on you. They say something and do something. But they have to understand that India understands the game. We understand China. China's intent is very, very categorical. They are here to stay, and our intent is very clear. We will not let them stay there.
So if you were still the DGMO and foreign minister was going to meet the Chinese foreign minister, what would be your message to him? What would you want him to tell you, his Chinese counterpart?
So these things are not, you sit down together and discuss things, and the positions are well known. And India's position very categorically simple. We just want a status quo ante and go back to ensuring peace and technical equilibrium along the line of actual control. And that is what we've worked for so many years. And that is exactly what we want. We're not looking at anything more than that right now. But China has to ensure that there's no aggressiveness from their side, there is no violation of the agreements from their side, and they abide by that. We have to understand peace and tranquility. We have to work towards a better relationship, not along the LSC only, but with India and China. But that is up to the Chinese now to mend their ways and to make sure that they restore some sort of equilibrium before we proceed further and redo our modus vivendi along the line of actual control.
So as you said that we want status quo ante, we want peace and tranquility, but how to ensure that? How to ensure, bring about that status quo ante? Diplomatically, militarily, how?
See, it has to be it has synergized. It's a national effort. It is the complete country has to work together in this. It has to be the military domain and military domain is the first one actually. If you're militarily weak, you cannot ensure anything else. Military strength is essential to that. Preparedness. So our military has to prepare, and we are prepared. We are occupying our side of the line of actual control, all along the line of actual control. We are occupying areas which are tactically important. We are occupying. We are high vigil right from Karakoram onto the west to Timbuktu onto the east, all along the 300-400 kilometer borders. So from a military point of view, along the line of actual control, we have demonstrated strength. We also have the Air Force, which is now got the Rafale and got some advantages on the terrain aspects, training aspects, technology aspects. The Indian Navy is again dominating the line of sea lines of communication. So we have our strengths out there. From this flow, the diplomatic strength, when you talk to the diplomatic domain and also the political domain. So everyone has to work together, and let's not forget the economic domain. China has been hit hard by some of the economic decisions taken by India, and the rest of the world is looking at it, because if India can do it, others will follow. So it's not only India which China is looking at, but it is also the other countries which may now block Chinese apps. It is not only for economic reasons but also security reasons, as Chinese apps ask for data and our data resides in China.
So since you mentioned about military action, military maneuvers or military mobilization, so as a former DGMO, I know you will be having limited access to information, but do you think our military or our military establishment is doing enough, or there is something more to be done to pressurize China?
This is our military is up to it totally. They're doing what they have to do, and it is not only the military does its own. There is a political direction to it. There is a strategic direction, and we have to look at the long term. And in our aim should be to deter China's aggressive behavior along the line of actual control, and that is exactly what we are doing. And we have, if they have built up the PLA, we also have a equitable and proportional build up on our side. Whatever they have got, we got equal amount, and our military is absolutely capable, and we are going to defend each and every inch of our territory. To that we should have no doubts about it. The military is doing its best and continue to do its best. I trust the military to deliver, and it will always deliver that way, and it continue to deliver.
So we trust our military the most, but there are some views that maybe India is wasting time or maybe crucial time by engaging in talks, because if there has to be some military action, the window is very narrow now. Do you have the same sense?
No, I will not say that. These are not things which are done in a hurry. Some Bromcho took 6.5 years to resolve. Where is the hurry? Let them also spend the winter in the forward deployment areas. Winters we're going to be in for a long haul, we're in for a long winter. But the Indian Army is used to the winters. It is the PLA which is not used to the winters. So let's keep talking. These things are resolved through talks. The military option is the last resort. It is not an option. It's the last resort. But we're not. We should not look at the last resort right now. We have many options which are open. We are pressurizing China. Has to see the geopolitics of it. It is open too many fronts. It's vulnerable all over. So I don't think China will like to escalate. They may think that they control the escalatory ladder, but they will not like to escalate because they have opened up South China Sea. They have 10 of their neighbors on the South China Sea. They are again trying the same strategy, what they tried what they tried along LAC. Chinese have a lot at stake. China is looking at dominating the world in the future. And if China gets involved in India, India is a very big power. India is a risen, responsible power. India is a resurgent power. China cannot afford to get involved militarily in India. And India should not also want to get involved militarily in China. And we can resolve issues by many means. We should resolve them first, and military is always the last resort in any case.
But you said that China doesn't want to escalate, but China is escalating situation maybe every week or every 10 days. So, what do you say on that? I mean, China is.
I will not call it escalation. This is posturing. China is, it is military position going on. He's trying to be aggressive. He's going to show aggressive intent, and he wants you to talk and accede to his demands. He has demands, and that is what he wants you to exceed. And that is where the hard talk is going on. We have had talks since the 30th for 6 continuous days between the brigade commanders at the military level. We had talks at the political level with Raksha Mantri. We were talking at the WMCC. So the talks are going on. But to expect every talk to yield results, I think that will not be fair. We'll have to look at things in a broader perspective. China has a hardened position out there. We are standing very firm. We have our positions. We say this is line of actual control is ours, and we have now put pressure on China. We have rattled China by certain heights, and also by employing the Vikas Battalion. This is a game changer because China is looking at this angle very, very seriously. You have to look at this because this has got impact inside the country.
But sir, many people are speculating or maybe guessing or anticipating that there could be conflict, limited conflict at least, if not war. Do you have the same sense?
No, I hope not, because conflict is in no one's interest. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's in anyone's interest, neither China's nor India's. China will lose more in a conflict than India will lose. China will lose much more. So I don't see conflict. As long as the talks are on, let us leave it at the diplomatic, military, political level for the talks to go on. We had this earlier also, but this is a change in China's behavior, and this we are seeing it everywhere. So let us wait. Let us be about it. I don't see a conflict scenario, but that does not mean we should not be prepared for it. We should prepare for a conflict. So like I said, we want peace to prepare test. We want peace to a position of relative strength. Strength is what China respects.
So as you mentioned that China, you are seeing the behavioral change of China. So we don't know how far they will go in that behavioral change, because you see shots being fired after so many years, and we don't know what next, isn't it? So it's always a guessing game what will happen next.
As long as troops are in close contact, there are standoffs, then always a chance of a spiral like it happened in Galwan. Skirmishes can take place. India is fully prepared for all contingencies. Indian military will prepare for all contingencies. India is prepared for all contingencies, and we should prepare for contingencies. We should plan everything. We should look at the winters ahead. We have to do a logistics planning. The stamina is required. Out there. But that does not mean that conflict can or cannot be there. We have to prepare for every aspect of it. And if you are prepared,
China will know that we are prepared. We have demonstrated when the Raksha Mantri went out there to Stapna. We had shown a demonstration of our combat potential which is there in high-altitude areas. So these are indicators, these are signals, and these are the correct signals which China must be reading. It is not only China which is doing exercises, China also doing psychological warfare, China doing information warfare. So China, this is whole 3 warfare strategy by China. But what we need to do is we need to prepare. We should send signals to China that we are fully prepared, and if they want to escalate, let it be so. We cannot bow down. We cannot be rattled. We are a professional armed forces. We are a resilient nation. We are a resilient nation. The world is with us. We are a global leader today. So China cannot take us lightly anymore. We have to stand firm out there. But we have to also ensure that we should not get to a conflict too early. Conflict is the last resort.
So if we look at the situation right now, it looks like it is going to be a long haul, and winters are just coming, and winters are very harsh. Sorry. So while China has built very concrete infrastructure there, people are worried about how Indian troops will be housed. Is that a worry?
I think there is one concern which the Indian armed forces, the Indian army doesn't have. We are hardened in altitude deployment, altitude sustaining, super altitude rather, 5,000 meters plus. So all our units are very, they have tenures out there. So the JCOs, NCOs, the leaders, the officers, they know what altitude is all about. We can sustain. Winter is going to be very harsh, but then we sustain at 5,000 meters plus along so many places along the Siachen Glacier itself. We have the Kargil Heights, not only Eastern Ladakh, in Sikkim, and I was a corps commander there. Most of the posts are around 5,000 meters. Even Arunachal also posts are high. We have the expertise and experience. The PLA does not get deployed out there. The PLA has the border defense regiments deployed, and that too only at certain passes and certain positions which they think are critical. So we have our deployment all along. We have the wherewithal. We have the stamina. We have the will. So winters are going to be very long for India, but they're going to be very, very, very long for China. So it is the Chinese we should be bothered about the winters deployment out there, because they lack the stamina, they lack the mental attitude to stay there. The robustness is required. Winters in altitude are very, very tough, but then we are used to it.
So one more aspect I would like to highlight. While China has been trying to capture areas of Ladakh and in Galwan and Pangong Lake and all, Indian Army is helping Chinese. If you must have read about the 5 Chinese losing their way in Sikkim and they being guided back by the Indian Army. And yesterday also our Indian Army is returning cows and yaks of China. So what does it tell about? I mean, while Chinese are abducting Indians and we are returning their even cows.
This is the very normal feature, especially in certain areas. The civilians who come across, we have no fight. We have no quarrel with the civilians there. Why should I have any quarrel with the civilians? The people of China, they are very good people out there, and they come, they lose their way. We look after them, and it is not only that. We also look after the PLA when they come onto for interactions and all. I've seen it all along the line of actual control. So we are a professional army. It is not that if we are having a dispute somewhere, then in other places we will not return their cattle, we will not return the people. That is something we are doing. But I do believe that in Arunachal, 5 of our people who have inadvertently gone across have been in the custody of China. This is as per the media reports and as per the reports coming from Arunachal. But we will not do that. We are a disciplined army, we are a committed army. If something happens like that, we will return the people. We will look after the people. And that's something we always been doing, and we will maintain that, and that's how it should be done.
But Chinese foreign ministry has not even confirmed that they have been abducted. In fact, they have not admitted it. In fact, their foreign office spokesperson says Arunachal is part of southern Tibet. So they give that narrative on that issue.
So that's the difference between Indian Army and Chinese Army. That is why Indian Army is Indian Army and the PLA is PLA. PLA is the army of the, not of China, it's the army of the party, the Communist Party of China. So there's a lot of difference in professionalism, in the discipline, in the commitment, in the way we do things. We will abide by the principles which we have. We will abide by the values and the thoughts of the Indian Army, and that's how it should be. We got Chinese armies. Let me say the PLA is occupation force in Tibet. We are not there. We are our own people. This is our own country, and we will look after some भूले भटके कुछ लोग चाइना से आ जाते हैं, हम उनकी देखभाल करके वापस भेज देंगे।
So if you talk about China's lackey, that is Pakistan, do you anticipate they will also do some nudging or maybe try to create trouble if Chinese tension on the Ladakh border increases?
Yes, definitely. This is the only time when Pakistan will think that they have an opportunity. They will think that they have an opportunity. They may not have that opportunity because we got enough forces deployed on our western border against Pakistan. But Pakistan will feel because we are preoccupied along the northern borders. So this is the opportunity which Pakistan has will seek, and I think they'll still continue to seek an opportunity in the low intensity domain where they will perpetrate terror attacks. Because of our preoccupation, they think that we will not do any surgical strikes or the precision strikes anymore. So they may up the ante as far as terrorism is concerned, which they have not succeeded till now. We have a very robust, very effective deployment along the line of control, and this is being strengthened. We have not let the infiltration take place, and they have another month to go before the slow section into the line of control. So Pakistan definitely will be looking at upping the ante, not only J&K, but possibly other places also, but J&K definitely.
So one last question before we conclude. So do you expect only Pakistan will create trouble through low intensity warfare? I mean, as you say, terrorism, terror act or something, or maybe they will carry out some more bigger activities like army activities or military activities in maybe Ladakh, maybe Kargil or somewhere else?
No, Pakistan must be reading the situation very closely. They would be praying and hoping that India and China have a conflict, but they'll be seeing the situation, and we have not sent out any deployment, any combat power from the western borders from Jammu and Kashmir. So that also they are reading. So we are fully prepared out there, and China and Pakistan knows that. Despite our preoccupation on the southern border, despite the situation on the LAC, we remain vigilant and fully prepared on the line of control and the western borders.
So very reassuring, sir. We remain prepared maybe for two-front war also. Thank you so much for participating in this debate, sir. This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I will be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.